most of the time what you will feel is exactly what you need to improve your life.
That's Eric van den Hove describing what you might feel in an Ayahuasca or Yage ceremony. A year ago, I'd never heard of, let alone met a shaman, and when I finally got to meet one, a white guy from Belgium with a law degree wasn't quite what I'd imagined, and I was kind of disappointed. But after seeing some of Eric's ceremonies and getting a chance to talk to him, I realized the wealth of knowledge and experience he has, and he's kind of one of my favorite people now. I asked him to join me on the podcast next time he was back in Barcelona, and him and his girlfriend Cecile, who are now based in Colombia, were kind enough to let me pick their brains for a couple of hours. We talked about everything from the origins of shamanism, what is it, how do you spot a fake, is it true they give psychedelics to infants, and why ayahuasca and Yage seem to be so popular now, and what's the role of a shaman in that. Those who are listening only might want to Google Poporo or check the YouTube channel to see what Eric was working on at the beginning. And anyone interested in seeing these guys next time they're in town, please email me for more info. As I said, I love these guys. I found them super interesting and I hope you do too. So without further ado, here's Eric and Cecile. Shout out to Auntie Mary.
Remember to always be true, no matter what you do.
What's going on here?
People who poo.
What is this?
Stop what you're doing and listen.
You can't hide, you can't run.
1, 2, 3. We're live. Eric, Cecile,
Daniel,
welcome.
thank you.
Eric, you've got a mouthful. What are you doing here?
Well, right now I put some coca leaves on the left side on my mouth, and on the right side I put ambil. The ambil is a tea of tobacco, and we make a tea and we boil it for a really long time until the tea become to be thick like plastilin. And I use also this plastilin on the other side of my mouth, on the right side. Then this object, what I have, is a holy object from the Muisca. Muisca is a tribe, a really old tribe of South America, for Colombia. And inside the poporo I have lime. And this lime is done by shell conchs of the sea.
Right.
And I take out the lime on this stick, and I put it down in the poporo. That's the physical things I do.
Okay. Let me back up a bit then. So the definition I found online of a shaman is a person regarded as having access to and influence in the world of good and evil spirits, especially North Asia and North America. Typically, such people enter a trance state during a ritual and practice divination and healing. Do you agree with that description? Is that accurate, or?
Yes, the only things maybe I will be pleased to change is not about good and bad, because nothing is good, nothing is bad. It's just some label we used to put on some activity, but nothing is good, nothing is bad. It's only a point of view. So
just spirits.
Yes.
So you're a shaman, so you'd consider yourself a person regarded as having access to and influence in the world of, let's just say, spirits. And here it says especially North Asia and North America. Where did shamanism begin? Do we know?
Well, the name shaman come from Siberia.
Okay.
It's not from South America or even from America. And the name shaman, in fact, in America and South America, don't have any meanings for the masters. In South America, we have different kind of master. Depending the tribe, they have different title. On the forest, most of them it's called Taita. Taita means father.
Okay.
And on the mountain, certain mountain, especially the holy mountain who is called Sierra Nevada of Santa Marta. It's on the north of Colombia. It's a really high mountain. It's almost 6,000 meter high. and there they call mamos.
Okay.
That's the title the master receive. And for the Muisca, the title they receive is Chiku. So my master, who trained me now for already 4 years, or a little bit more than 4 years long, is a Shiku. His name is Shiku Komba Nimi Kene. That's his name. And Komba means wild cat. Nimi, it's a kind of white jaguar for the mountain, and it's a kind jaguar.
A big shout out to him then. I'm not sure if he listens to podcasts, but maybe he's checking up on you and making
He will, he certainly will. He don't speak much English, but he will understand some.
Okay, maybe we can subtitle this in Spanish for YouTube at least. Okay, so you have a master, because I feel shamanism, at least for me, obviously it's not a new thing, but recently I've been hearing a lot more about it. And I don't know if it's the same with you. Ayahuasca is something that's very associated with shamans, and that's something that I'd never heard of maybe 6 months ago or a bit more. And now it seems to be everywhere. And I don't know if that's in my select little world, or maybe you're also noticing this, not just in Barcelona here, but in other parts of the world. Is this something that's getting I don't know if it's a revival, or that's now being accepted into the broader community as an alternative or something different to the traditional, more European religions?
Well, about ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is the name a holy ceremony received in Peru. And in Colombia, you have the same kind of ceremony, in Ecuador too, and the name of the ceremony changed. It's called Yage. Okay. But it's the same ceremony. And to do the ceremony, we will take a brew who is done by only 2 plants. One of the plants is a viand, and the plant have the name of the ceremony. It's called Yage, the viand, or ayahuasca if you are in Peru. And they mix that with water and with some leaves, and that's it. You are not allowed to put anything else on the brew. And we take the brew, and this medicine or this brew will provide you a different state of conscience, and it's quite difficult to explain if you don't. You have to live it to understand well what it's happening when you take the Yage or the ayahuasca. I used to say if I have to try to explain to somebody what is the Yage ceremony or ayahuasca ceremony, I will face the situation as I have to explain internet to someone who don't know TV. It's not impossible, but it's extremely difficult.
Okay.
It's easier to put in front of the computer and say, look, that is internet, and you show him. And the same happens with the Yage or ayahuasca. It's much easier to say to the people, well, come, do the ceremony, then you will understand, and you will be faced, you won't be able to explain what just happened to you. That's most of the time, that's what we face. We don't have the words to explain the kind of experience we receive. It's quite difficult.
I know exactly what you mean. So, yeah, I was in one of your ceremonies some months ago, and I feel so privileged to be able to have both of you in front of me here and be able to ask more questions. And also, I've had some people give me questions for you guys, because I know how it was for me before. There's a big element of fear, and most people, you do whatever research you can. YouTube's a big one. So hopefully some people looking to do it are finding this video. And after having been in one of your ceremonies, hands down the most life-changing experience I've ever had. But like you say, also very hard to explain, and I think it's almost detrimental to try and explain how it is. I know some people go into ayahuasca spiritually, or Yage as well, sorry. Some people go in for more maybe psychological reasons, not so much in a spiritual way, but they've had problems or they're not sure what they're doing with their life or this sort of thing, and they can get, they believe they can find some answers there. And I know some people are just interested in doing supposedly crazy things and would go into it for those reasons. How do you recommend people approach this? Firstly, this ceremony and this plant, because you use the plant or the two plants in a ceremonial way, but there are people that just take it without a ceremony, and there are charlatans in this world as well who maybe abuse people's want of taking these sorts of ceremonies around the world. What do you think about those?
Well, this ceremony, it's a really particular ceremony, and to run a ceremony, I will highly suggest to do that with authorized people by the ancestral tribes.
Okay,
masters.
So as a let's take myself for example. I live in Barcelona. I don't know shit from clay when it comes to ancestral tribes. I'm interested in ayahuasca or Yage. How do I know a good from a bad shaman, or even whether, because some people are looking at doing this without a shaman. Why is a shaman necessary for this, and why so?
Well, yes, I will highly recommend always to do that with a shaman. And here's a tricky situation, because we don't know easily who is authorized shaman here in Barcelona. If somebody guy with feathers and necklace and you say, this guy it's a good one. He have a lot of feathers and a big necklace with a huge teeth, so he must know a lot. And
is there a school? Is there like a
yes?
Is there how I'm fascinated by this, because for like Catholicism and these sorts of religions, it's fairly clear to the outside world, but how does it work with shamanism?
Well, with the shamanism, in fact, you don't choose your master.
Okay.
You at the beginning, well, you will participate to some ceremony, and if some master, in that case Taita, see on you some possibility to be trained, he will call you. If you try to find a master to be trained, he will receive you, but nothing will happen.
Okay.
That means he will tell you, okay, yes, you're welcome, come to my place, and you will be his slave for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. But
so I'm getting some Star Wars vibes.
The master will feel it's pointless to try to teach you, because you are not the right guy to do it. So he will receive you or help, because they are respectful and they respect you willing, but you won't learn much. And the tricky part, in fact, it's not even the master who teach you, it's the ceremony herself who show you, if I may say, the knowledge or the feeling you will get to run some ceremony. And after several ceremony, sometimes it's 10 years, sometimes it's 15 years, sometimes it's 20 years, sometimes even for all your life long. And after a certain time, you will be granted by this master, and you say, okay, now you prepare to run your own ceremony. And when you do your ceremony by your own, you need a backup. And the backup will be your master. Doesn't matter if he's not present physically, you will call him, and he will be present. And the commitment who will have the master, he will give his life to protect you on ceremony. So it's not so easy to find a master who agreed to give his life to protect you. So and he will be responsible about the misuse or the right use you do on the Yage. So they're really tricky. They don't grant people easily. Because it's really easy to misuse the Yage too. The Yage, it's a really huge power. And well, if I want, I may use the Yage to win money or to get a lot of girlfriends or whatever. Because the power is there and you may use as well as you want.
On that note, you do hear of people believing that to do these ceremonies they need to go to the deep jungle, and especially women, being taken advantage of there, and people being, put into a certain state where they don't really know what they're doing, and then robbed or raped, or there are some horror stories like this. Before you said. With the spirits, there's not so much good and evil; it's just spirits. So, what is it in the ceremony that needs protecting? What when you say the master needs to be present?
Well, in fact, you in my case, I even call one master. I call several of them who provide me and offer me to help me on the ceremony, and I call them. It's the first things I do when I start the ceremony. I call them and I please them to be present, to protect us, to heal us, to provide us good vision, good knowledge, good feelings. The problem what you will be faced if you do that without this kind of backup. Most of the time, nothing will happen wrongly. That means you will do a Yage and you will get high and you will have some nice vision, and doesn't matter if you have any backup or not. But what I used to say, it's if I do the comparison, it's like if you do a plastic surgery and you have a friend just next to the corner who have beautiful knife and he provides plastic surgery, but he's not a doctor. But he have a good knife. But the problem is... maybe this guy also was, you say nurse? Yes, he provide help for doctor for plastic surgery for several years already. And he feel, I know what the doctor do, so I may cut myself and put the backs on the boobs, on the back of the people, and she will look great. And in fact, most of the time he will be successful. The problem will be what he get exposed is if anything gets wrong, he won't know what to do. For such reason, the doctor have to be trained for several years, just in case something gets wrong, he will know what to do. And the same happened with the ceremony of Yage. If some guy start to have a really complicated situation, you must know what to do and who to call for help. If you don't know, you will face a really complicated situation. The guy who will be doing the ceremony and the people who participate to the ceremony, they can be really confused, and the ceremony won't be nice for them. And for such reason, I always say to the people, be sure when you do a ceremony, the guy who run the ceremony, it's a approved guy for tradition of Yage. It's like if you do a plastic surgery, be sure it's a doctor. It's not just some guy who have a nice knife. It's not good enough. It's not a matter of knife. And here, even for the Yage, it's not a matter of to find a good medicine. And also to have a good medicine, it's something really, I may say, tricky. Because when you prepare the medicine, all the feeling you get during the preparation will be involved on the medicine. So when you buy Yage or Ayahuasca by internet, you don't know the people in what mood they was when they prepare it. And all this situation, you will receive it. Can be nice, can be awful. And for such reason, also, most of us, we only use the Yage we brew ourselves. In rare occasion, if you have a really huge confidence with some taita, you may buy some Yage from him. But for his taita also will be a concern, because if you misuse the Yage for his Yage, he will be responsible. So the taita don't please to sell their own Yage to somebody they don't know pretty well.
A few things you mentioned in there. One was people to check that they do this with a good shaman. I'm interested in Yage and Ayahuasca, and I have no idea what I'm doing. How do I know that I'm getting a good shaman?
Well, you will have to have to somebody who already did it and have some experience to refer someone who have some knowledge.
Okay.
And even it's even more tricky of that, because you can have a really huge taita who is granted to do a ceremony and his heart is not nice. Because we are human and people do mistake. Even doesn't matter if he did already 10,000 of Yage ceremony. It's something I faced when I was beginning with the Yage after maybe 50 ceremony, and I saw some taita.
Sorry. When did you begin with Yage?
Well, it was almost soon. It was in January in 2009. In fact, it's really soon. It's only 9 years.
And is that the first time you had Yage?
Yes.
Or the first time? Okay.
Yes, it was the first time I received Yage. And I never listened about it before. I wasn't interested neither to do any high ceremony of anything. I never get drunk by alcohol. I never smoke cigarettes. I never take any kind of pills. I don't please that. And some people need a place to do a ceremony, and they ask me if the place I live will be available to do it, and I accept that for them, because I respect so much the Indian tradition. And they tell me, well, you will be invited to the ceremony if you please. And I say, okay. And what kind of ceremony is it? A Yage ceremony. I never listened about that ceremony before, ever. So I did a search to know what kind of ceremony it is, and I read awful things about Yage. I read things, it's a satanic ceremony. Other people tell me, that damage your liver, the people get crazy, the people get mad. I say, what is this kind of ceremony? I wasn't feeling pleased about it. And I found another page, I guess was on YouTube or on internet, I don't remember well. I found people who was talking about the experience with most poetry I never read. And they tell me, well, it's the most blessing things happen to me, to my family, to my friends. I don't have words to thank the blessing of this plant to me. And I was really suspicious. I said, what is this kind of ceremony? You have such opposite approach. People says the worst things, and the other one says the most blessing things. What kind of ceremony is this? And continue my search. What I say now, I say that with full respect about any believers and any kind of religion approach. But one of the Catholic church page on internet spoke badly about the Yage. And I say, why the Catholic people are speaking about something they don't know? Because it's not their religion, it's not their tradition. And they say, no, I am interested. I am really interested to know why the Catholic Church don't speak nicely about this experience. So I decided to do it. And was amazing ceremony. My first ceremony was incredible. I still remember it. So to know who are authorized or who not is a small church, you will have to do. You will have to check this guy, where he come from, when he was training on, and who provide him the backup to do ceremony. And you may ask him. I will tell you, on my case right now, it's the Shiku Kombani Mikene who grant me the possibility to do Yage ceremony on Europe, also in Colombia. And I have also other taitas who provide me some really nice support, maybe 4 or 5 really nice taita who we have so much confidence together. Then they are really pleased when I shows up in their ceremony. When they have ceremony and I shows up, they are pleased, and we share a nice time. They are really pleased moment when we do ceremony together.
So this, I've heard that you've learnt from tribesmen,
yes.
Tribes leaders, but also from the abuelas, the grandmas.
Yes, in fact, the first time I take Yage was with a taita called Saulo Botina, his name. I did 2 ceremonies with him, Friday and Saturday night. And after like 4, 5, 6 weeks later, a grandma shows up. And this grandma was the wife, because they split, was the wife of this Taita. And she tried to come really often to my place to do ceremony almost every weekend, and sometimes even during the week. And I remember we was on the first ceremony, we was close to the fire, and somebody was on, I may say, on pain, on trouble to relieve some feelings he have, and he want to purge that feelings, and he had some difficulties, and I was close to the fire, and by mine I was taking fire with my hand, and I was sending fire to him to clean him. And the grandma saw me, and he said, "Eric, you are doing magic." And he said, "Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to do so." He said, No. All the opposite. I never thought a guy from Europe can be involved with magic, with our magic. And that changed her the point of view, and she started to train me. But again, the way they train you, it's with the plant. They speak with the plant, and the plant train you. It's not the master who train you. It's really tricky.
So I'm trying to take this information now as someone who has no idea about this, and hearing you talk about a plant training a human being.
Yes, make no sense.
Ridiculous, right? Ridiculous. We can agree on that. But then so you had a Taita and his wife, I guess, and they split. So these people have everyday first world problems as well.
As all human we have, we feel confusion, we feel pain, we feel happiness, we feel whatever. We're human,
yeah,
and we do mistake, and I will continue to do mistake on my own too. I will try to learn about my mistake and to stop to doing them. And in fact, the plant will show you several mistakes you do and how to solve it. It's up to you if you do it or not. And that's what I face also in some ceremony. I saw some Taita, and they wasn't nice at all. Wasn't nice energy what they use, and I was feeling they misuse the ceremony for strange purpose. And I asked to Mother Earth or the plant, why the plant allowed to misuse the plant, especially with the guy who's supposed to have a huge knowledge. And the plant answered me and say, "Look, I show the path to the people, but the people still to be free to do what they want. I don't obligate anyone."
Okay, so 1 second. When you say the plant showed you, how's this? You're in a ceremony, and I don't know if you can explain that sort of thing.
I will try. Usually, you take the brew. First of all, we build an altar. We put some holy object on the altar. Then you prepare the Yage, doing some invocation. In my case, I call the masters and some others spirit help to be present. Then I give the brew, a small cup of brew to each one. And the people drinking. The brew depends. Sometimes it's sweet, sometimes it's bitter. Mostly it's more bitter than sweet. It's not really pleasant to drink.
No one's there to have fun, though, are they?
Yes, and I suggest to the people, they say, well, just lay down on your bed or close to the fire. You sit or you remain calm. In the ceremony I run, I please the people to not to speak during the night, to be focused on the experience they will get.
Mm-hmm.
So after a while, maybe 15 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 1 hour, the timing is not really precise on such situation. You will start to feel seasick. It's really often. It's not always, but it's often. You feel seasick like when you eat some bad shrimps. It's not funny, and you feel on your stomach something is getting really wrong.
Okay.
And on the same times, you will start to feel like drunkenness, but it's not a drunkenness by alcohol. It's another kind of drunkenness. But you may stand up most of the time. You may walk. I say most of the time. In rare occasion, the people are not allowed. But depending how you handle the ceremony, and you will have to go to purge, to vomit. And
So purging is the term you use for when you vomit.
Yes. Well, you have two kind of purge. You may purge vomiting, or you may purge going to the bathroom.
I can relate to that.
Because you have the two effect with this plant. And it's like a catharsis. When you start to vomit, you will figure what you vomit is not only physical things. You will start to vomit feelings, thoughts, memories, hard time you had on the past, and you see everything goes out, and you saw them. You saw that when you vomit. It's strange. Then most of the first vision you get, it's you will start to see sacred geometry. You will see what I call mandalas. Mandalas is this blessing geometry they have in India and and you will start to see that everywhere with really shiny colors, and the mandalas start to move and to have it's like a 3D mandalas moving. It's really strange. And if you remain calm, this situation may raise up even to be bigger, the effect, and you will have some message, what I call from the spiritual master. The spiritual master come and share you some message. They will show you, or they will speak to you, or you will just feeling something different. And most of the time what you will feel is exactly what you need to improve your life. Then your life start to improve step by step. The plant will show you a little bit every time. Sometimes even you do ceremony and you don't remember, or you don't figure what the message was, but the medicine always is working. It's doing his job. I had so many story about people who went to do a ceremony and the next day say, I don't get any message, nothing. I even purge. It's not my kind of ceremony. And 6 months later, I come back to the same place, and the guy shows up and he say, "Oh, you came back." I say, "Yes, my life changed completely. I had this situation, that situation. It's amazing. All the synchronicity start to shows up, and I am really interesting to do another ceremony." And on such time, they will purge easier. But time to time, also you have people who don't have any effect during 5 ceremony, 6 ceremony, nothing happen. And they don't know why. They listen to people just next to them, and they had a huge experience and wonderful message, and they didn't get any. And in such case, we have some things we may do with other plant outside the ceremony to clean him, especially the liver, because most of the time our liver is full of toxicity.
Okay, I want to. So when you were saying some people might have effects or not, in your opinion, is this for everyone?
I will say when the people ask me where it's appropriate to do a Yage ceremony, and I answer, you must be alive and you must want to do it. That's the true request. You are alive and you want to do it, you're welcome.
Because I've heard, I'm not sure if it's true, that in the jungles of South America, I'm not sure which countries exactly, but in certain tribes, when a child is born, they will put a drop of Yage on their tongue.
Well, at 4 months old, yes. After 4 months, they start to receive some Yage in certain tribes.
4 months?
Yes.
Have you people who've had this? And,
yes, I saw that with a 6 month old baby, and they receive some Yage. For them, it's so funny because they don't have any problem. So I guess will be like a Walt Disney movie. What he say, what he start to see will be a blessing for him.
So, from an outsider's point of view, this is like you're giving psychedelics to an infant. Can you see the effects it has on it? Can you see the infant start looking goggly eyes, or?
Well, when they are so young, you don't know exactly what he is prove on his life, because you are not related to them to see the difference on the timing. I am not that close to this baby to see how he improved the next week and the next month. But
I mean, looking at the child when the drop goes on, do see them?
No.
No? They look fine? They don't start laughing or crying or...
Mostly they sleep so well. They have a blessing night and they don't disturb the ceremony.
That should be... that's something that a lot of parents, I think, would like to have in this area as well then.
Sometimes the people say, I won't show up to the ceremony because I feel sick. I say, that means this guy didn't understand what's the ceremony for. It's to healing. So if you are sick, you are welcome. You don't have to be in perfect fit to do the ceremony, or totally the opposite. The more sick you are, better you come.
So what are the requirements for a ceremony then? Because some people think like, okay, this is something from the Amazon, I need to be there, I need the shaman, I need this sort of thing. Other people go the completely other end, and I just need the plant and I want to be by myself in a room. And then I think my experience was a little bit in between, who I believe with my very narrow experience is a legitimate shaman, came to Europe and performed the ceremony. What are the requirements?
Well, I will speak about the history about the Yage. The Yage, it's a really old tradition. Some anthropologists say it's 4,000 years tradition, 8,000 years tradition. In fact, I don't know really how old is it, because it's a tradition you do on the forest, and on the forest after 100 years you don't see anything you had disappear, because the forest is so huge to I won't say to destroy, but to replace any kind of object you use to do Yage ceremony. So after 1,000 years, it's extremely difficult to find any object about the Yage. So it's maybe even older. We don't know much about it. But what used to be on the Yage ceremony, it's the Yage ceremony, something I feel was something hide. They didn't share this Yage ceremony with nobody. That was the use.
Okay.
If you go to the record of the for the Reina de Castilla, all the chronics, they speak about a lot of different kind of medicine, but they don't speak about the Yage. Was a hide one. And what's happened was 40 years ago, some Taita received a message they have to spread out the Yage knowledge outside the forest.
Really? And
they start to do it outside the forest. They start to do a Yage ceremony at town in Colombia, in Peru, in Ecuador.
So that's super interesting, because I had no idea of that. So whether you believe in it at all, the messages or not, the fact that it's only been 40 years since they've been actively spreading it,
yes,
that would make a lot more sense as to why you're hearing a lot more about it now. And I mean, I want to talk about the modern way of doing things as well, compared to this obviously very ancient, let's say tribal sort of Amazonian, a lot of the time, like jungle, primitive form of doing things.
Yes, and the ceremony also received some improvement or innovation. 200 years ago, nobody used harmonica.
Okay.
Nobody used guitar.
Or a Bose speaker.
Yes, exactly.
When my ceremony with you, I want to talk about this because in my head I wasn't going into it in any spiritual way at all. I was like recently married. I thought, this is we want to disconnect and rethink what we want to do with our lives. And here's what better opportunity than this. We'd heard it was a good way of reassessing your beliefs or what's important to you more than your beliefs. Sorry. So I wasn't going into it in any spiritual way, but I did think it was important. I'd heard, I did my research, and I needed someone who'd specifically been with the person administering it, which was you in the end. And then I felt more comfortable going with some people who'd already done it and some friends. And then when I heard who our shaman was going to be, and my friend tells me it's Eric, and I was like, okay, I was expecting a little more mystical, magical shaman name of Mr. Three Feather something tribal. Okay, he's from Belgium. Okay, a white guy. Okay, I was expecting, I was hoping for something a bit more magical there too. And then when we went together, someone picked you up in a Tesla. A model I'd never seen before, a 4x4 Tesla with the suicide doors that open up. And here's this Belgian shaman getting in there. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And then we get to the house, and you're on your phone on WhatsApp with different people after, we'd been sort of told, you should disconnect and try and avoid the city life and this sort of thing. And then you've got your Bose speaker here, but you've also got crystals, and you've got popora and a big tribal drum and feathers and these things. And I'm like, what is this? What is this weird mix? And then, of course, in the ceremony, for me, it 250% all made sense. But to people who do think that, like, I guess it's going back to what are the requirements and this sort of thing. People don't need to be in the Amazon.
No, really no. I won't say, well, Amazon, it's a cool place because it's a quiet place. Quiet for the environment of the Amazon. You will listen a little, so much noise, but from the forest. Mm-hmm. So it's really it's really nice. But if you do some ceremony, in fact, at home where I live close to Cali on the mountain. And when the Taita come to my place to do ceremony... So you live in
Colombia?
Yes, I live in Colombia. And when some Taita come to my place to do ceremony, say, I feel exactly the same as I do at home in the jungle, because your place is so blessing. And I have a lot of wild animal on my place, and you listen them during the night, during the morning. In fact, I have something also really strange what happened on my place. I have a good piece of land, well, not so huge, it's like 5,000 square meter. And I plant several yahe there. Mm-hmm. And after a few years, the yahe start to have flowers. That's often, not really much, but it's often. On the jungle, you have yahe, the vayans start to have flowers. But the rare things, what happen at my place, they start to produce seed. And I had several Taita who came to my place, and I shared to them seeds. And they tell me, Eric, I am a Yahe man for all my life. All my family, it's on the Yahe tradition. It's the first time I see seeds. So it's, what did you did with this plant to get seeds, and we don't?
So how do the two plants reproduce then, or how?
Usually for the yahe, well, with the seeds, it's a good way to do it. But you use a piece of stick of the vayan and you plant it, and they grow.
Okay, so seeds aren't compulsory, but if you can have seeds and pass them on, fantastic.
Yes, in fact, I have seed with me. I travel with seed now.
I've got a pot plant out there that we could just throw in and see.
But you will need to the yahe can resist some cold weather, but short time.
Okay.
He needs a warm place to grow.
Okay.
If time to time you have cold weather, it's okay, but cannot be long. If not, he will die.
Mm. Yeah, it's just coming out of winter here.
And the other plant, what we call chacruna or chacopanga or pinta, is the name of the other plant. This one is a really tricky plant. They don't raise easily. You plant it and he die, and to have it, it's complicated. It takes me several years to have the other plant at home.
So, legality-wise, the plants, they're legal to grow separately everywhere in the world, or in Colombia, or where? What's the?
Yes, I guess so. It's just a plant.
Yeah.
But plants are allowed to grow wherever they want.
Yeah, but I mean, I look at marijuana, for example. Here, I'm not sure what the laws are now, but it used to be that you could have 3 plants.
About the legal plant, I am a turner, so I make my own search. I am a turner in Colombia. So
what?
Attorney, lawyer.
Attorney, sorry.
Yes.
Attorney, yeah.
So I did my own search.
An attorney who's a shaman.
Yes, it's crazy, isn't it?
That was actually a question a friend Michel put in. Like, what did he say? Do you have to? Does anyone need to sign a waiver or something before going into a ceremony, or what happens?
Well, some people do it because everything is by law on our society. Then to protect themselves, you will sign. Anything happen, it's on your own willing and blah 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 blah. But it's another issue. But let's speak about the legal part of it. most of the country, they have a code, a penal code. And on the penal code, you know what you are allowed to do or what is forbidden. In fact, it's what is forbidden, because what is allowed is what is not on the code. Anything you do and it's not in the code, you are allowed to do it.
Okay, that makes sense.
If in the code you cannot rob, so you cannot rob, you'll be punished if they find you robbing. And about the certain plant, about the use or the use of the plant, in 1974, I guess, in the United Nations, they built a document, a treatise, and they put the list of all the not legal substance for the world. And there you have, of course, you have heroin, you have cocaine, you have all these substances who are not allowed to use. And they put 3 plants on the list. That means these wise people say, God made a mistake, this 3 plant doesn't have to live on earth. And you have the marijuana or hemp, you have poppies, and you have coca plant. These 3 plants are not legal. It's really strange, but that's what the people put down on the treaties. And most of the country subscribe this treaty and recognize that will be the substance who is not allowed to use, and you will be prosecutor if you use them, if you make any use of them, if you sell them, if you receive them, if you transport them, you will have you can be prosecuted about it. And in the list you have a molecule also they put on the list. It's DMT, it's dimethyltryptamine. Mm-hmm. And the dimethyltryptamine is on the list, but it's strange because nobody proved the bad effect about the DMT ever on people. But they put that on the list. And in fact, you have some people who produce DMT on an artificial way, and they extract DMT, and some people smoke it, and you have a really huge high effect. I never try it, but I listened that for some people who told me. So the things what happen with the Yage and the leaves with the Pinta or Chakrapanga, the Pinta or Chakrapanga, the leaves have DMT inside. Mm. But if you take the leaves and you start to eat them, nothing will happen because this molecule will be destroyed by your stomach enzyme. Mm. And the funny things what the Indian figure is, you take Yage plus the leaves, the Yage will stop the enzyme production on your stomach. Then the DMT will have effect on your body.
And that's what baffles a lot of people, that it's a root and a leaf from 2 separate plants mixed together that make...
So what the confusion about legality, the part about if it's legal or not about the Yage, the brew, it's if you take a test about the Yage, you will find some DMT on it. Mm-hmm. But in fact, you find DMT on bananas too. Of course, when you eat the banana, nothing happens because you don't eat banana with Yage. So the DMT don't have any effect on you because the enzyme of your body will kill the DMT. Because the DMT, it's present in several plants in different average, but you have even in certain acacia, you have a really huge amount of DMT inside the acacia.
Is it something that's in the human body already?
Also, yes, the DMT is responsible to provide creativity and dreams.
Okay.
In the pineal gland, with the pineal gland.
Okay.
So the problem we face time to time, or you may face on the legal approach, it's some custom may say, you have DMT on this brew, it's not legal, and they stop you. Mm. If you start to explain them, but that will take time, of course. The board of in the United Nations, you have a board who watch what's happening about all the non-legal substance on world. Mm. How is the improvement about cocaine, about hemp, about poppies, whatever? They make a trace analysis about that and a statistic about it. And this board recognize the natural brew cannot be assimilated as non-legal substance.
So let's clarify that. You mean a natural brew as in Yage?
Yes, or Iboga, for example.
So the root and the plant of...
It's not root, it's a vine.
Vine, sorry.
Well, you may use the root, but usually we use the vine.
Please correct me too
No,
if I
it's
say
okay,
anything
it's
wrong.
okay.
No, that's good. I don't know what I'm talking about. So, but those two together, basically, so you can travel freely with this, let's call it a tea.
Well, the situation you face when you travel, you may be stopped at any custom without anything on your back. If they want to harass you, they may harass you anywhere because you have papers, whatever.
Yeah.
If they want to give you trouble, they give you trouble.
You've obviously been to America before because that's the place.
If everything is legal and they want to give you trouble, they can put you on trouble. Doesn't matter them. They have full authority or do whatever they want. About the Yage, it's they will be confused really easy because they found DMT. So they say, I get some illegal stuff on this guy and I will prosecute him. And that will take a while to prove them it's not illegal things. But maybe you will be in trouble for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, well, whatever.
And in certain countries, while that's happening,
yeah,
you
in fact, the only country where it's not legal at all is France. Because in France, they built a special law for Yage. And they put a law saying Yage is not legal. Sacopanga and Pinta is not legal. Any brew of these two are not legal. Any derivation substance from these two plants are not legal. So in France, it's not legal. If they find you with Yage in France, you may be prosecuted and you will face you will have to defend yourself through other way. Because you may defend yourself also by other approach. I'm a lawyer, so you have different way to defend yourself. The United Nations did several treaties for ancestral tradition to protect that. And few of these treaties say any traditional ancestral ceremony are protected by these treaties. So you will have to prove you are Indian and you are on such path of knowledge, and that's belong to you life, to you use, and is not and must receive protection by the law. It's like a church. I have to respect your point of view about your spirituality. And you have several treaties in the United Nations who was subscribed by a lot of countries to protect the ancestral use of this kind of tribe, because they was prosecuted for a really long time. Even in Norway and Sweden and Finland. For example, I was there a few years ago, and they told me like 50 years ago, anyone who had a drum will face death penalty.
Who had a what, sorry?
A drum.
A drum, as in...
Yes, was the Lapon tribe.
Yeah.
They use drum. That's a holy object they use to make ceremony. And any one of these people who was found with a drum will face death penalty. Because they was prosecuted. Because people don't please to see other people doing things they don't understand.
That's. I think everyone can relate to that. That
Yes.
definitely is the case.
Yes.
And so when you say you're a lawyer as well, nowadays are you we can fix this if you want, we can put this up, but you could. Nowadays, are you a full-time? Is this what you do full-time?
Well, I never used to be a lawyer. I never did any activity as a lawyer. I study law because I would like to change sometime. I would like to understand why the situation on Earth is so mess. It's a huge mess what we have, and I would like to. I would like to change part of it, and so I say I will have to learn how what's the rules.
Yeah.
So I study laws, and I guess I understand few confusion we have on the law, and because we accept that these kind of law, we are on trouble. But well, it's another part of approach.
Okay. The other thing you were talking about, people never having proven negative effects of dimethyltryptamine.
Yes.
Did I get that wrong? I actually read recently, from a more scientific point of view, there's pharmaceutical pharmacists. My English is getting terrible. Pharmacists who are doing specific tests with dimethyltryptamine on the effects it has. And one of the leading guys in the world is actually here in Barcelona that I'd love to interview. I don't have his name right now, but and they've found that, well, firstly, it's not addictive. It's not an addictive
No,
substance.
not at all. When the people ask me, is the Yage addict, may provide addiction, my answer is you never take it, isn't it? Because soon you take it, you will face it's impossible to become addict to such ceremony.
So it's not addictive. So that's already something that a lot of people look for in things. And they've been testing it on people with addiction problems, people with extreme depression, and and mixes of the two, I guess. People with who are suicidal and this sort of thing. And they've found that not only I'll have to get this guy on and talk about the research exactly, but basically, even from a pharmaceutical point of view, like not with a shaman, not with anything, just using the substance in a scientific way, it can have positive effects. Short term, using it as a dosage, like a monthly dosage, I believe it was, and for some people, long term as well, not necessarily having to repeat it. So when you hear this sort of thing from the scientific world, you do wonder why countries like France or, have banned it, and countries that haven't necessarily banned it definitely do look at it. Like people, when you talk about drugs or illicit substances or psychedelics, for the general public, like if I mention that to, my parents or my grandma or this sort of thing, it's not a positive thing.
Exactly.
You don't go out and say, I'm doing psychedelics this weekend.
When you want to define what is a drug, you have different approach. Once it's legal or it's not legal. So it's one way to say it's a drug.
Yeah.
But in Peru, the ayahuasca ceremony, it's protected by the constitution themselves. That's the highest protection by law you may receive it. It's protected by law.
Super legal.
Exactly. And in France, it's forbidden. So one of them make a mistake. You cannot have one activity bless for one country and punish in another one. It's one of them make a mistake, of course. But you also may have another approach about what is drug. And I may say what is drug, it's something who give you addiction, who is not healthy for your body, and you will have to increase the amount what you take to feel the same effect. That's a kind of approach about drugs.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that completely, but I understand. Like, because some drugs people would say are beneficial, like toothpaste. Certain pharmaceuticals people would say are beneficial at certain times for them. So that just the part of being bad for your body.
No, but I say, well, when I say drugs, the people cannot quite to use that because they become addict.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And for example, with this statement, you will find the sugar. It's the hugest drug we have on earth. Which refined sugar.
Which is another thing that's becoming more and more prevalent.
And that provides a lot of disease on the people, but it's legal. But it's a drug. If we take an approach about what is bad for your health and provide you addiction, when the people when you take some guy and you stop to provide him sugar, he will come to be really anxious. And he will need it, and that will be an issue to solve it. Some people say the sugar is more addictive than even heroin.
I have heard it likened to cocaine or other heavy drugs. And that's another thing that more and more people are becoming aware of now. I do feel there is some sort of shift in general. And you see it more with social media, but then it's never, you're never sure exactly how much of it is you being shown what you're interested in, because now these Facebook and these other websites have such good algorithms that they show you what you want to see and what you're liking to. But even so, I do feel like there is in the world, at least that I know, there's more and more people being more open to certain things that could be a bit of a phase or a craze, but could also, when these things happen, the medium shifts up. For example, veganism, this throwback a bit away from refined, ultra refined things. Sugar's a good example. Just generally being a little bit more connected and a little bit more caring of yourselves and the planet. Like obviously ecological movements now, a lot more people are more conscious about this. All this sort of thing, obviously there are people who are furiously vegan and not interested at all in shamanism or this sort of stuff, but a lot of it sort of seems to be the same sort of pool of thought, and generally people, you know, sort of thinking like, have we been doing this right? Is this sort of what you were saying about the world? You know, people sort of saying, yeah, is there another way? Like, are we sure this is where we want to be? And I think politically what's happening, the States obviously is the big example, and then Brexit, you go so far one way that maybe humans need that, you know, to go this far this way to go, hang on, like what's going on here? And sort of it tends to be extremes of both ways, and then hopefully we find a middle ground that's a little saner and a little more I don't know, a little more correct for everyone and just beneficial for all, including the planet, and than what we're doing now. Because I don't think there are many people on this planet who are like, yep, everything's perfect, you know?
Well, in fact, for me, yes, everything is perfect for our training.
For your training, okay.
All the experience I get, it's the perfect experience I receive to learn. That's what I feel.
So that's another thing I got from after the ceremony. With all this stuff happening, it's very easy, depending on where you get your news from and all this sort of stuff, to get fairly negative about how the world is. But after the ceremony, I just had an insane feeling of calm and patience and a desire to do different things. I mean, this is one of them, just have interesting conversations with people. And like you say, not necessarily bad and good, but just accept that things are the way they are.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean you can't work to change things or improve yourself. But yeah, like you're saying, it is a perfect ground to be learning and improving on.
Exactly.
For those who want to. Yeah, which is crazy, man. Crazy. All right, I want to ask you some of these questions I have written down. I deliberately wrote them down because I knew it'd be super exciting talking to you. I'd just go everywhere. I think I sort of asked you what you think would happen if, well, what do you think would happen if everyone took this, or even half the people on the planet?
Well, I will tell you, once I had this kind of vision. I was on ceremony, and I saw in Brazil they was preparing pools of Yage. Pools was thousands of liters of Yage, amazing. And I saw one of the hugest taita we have in Colombia. It's called Taita Querubin Queta. It's one of the really well-respected taita. And I saw the taita was calling Brazil people. He said, send me a truck of Yage to Colombia. And I was sawing that truck coming to Colombia. I said, wow, will be a blessing. Even the politician will take Yage and everything will change. And once I shared that with the taita, and few months later, I was with this taita on the ceremony, and I shared the vision. And he started to laugh. He said, no, even the Judgment Day, we won't have such much Yage available for us. He was so laughing about that. But certainly will be something nice. But I won't say the Yage it's something is the best path for everyone. Someone will find the awakeness with yoga, or with meditation, or with veganism, or with helping other people. You have so many paths to awake. The plants help you to awake, but it's not only such way to awake yourself. You will find several different ways to awake, and it's okay. It's not when I have some people and they come to be like fanatism about the Yage, say no, take a step aside. Watch yourself. don't become fanatic about with fanatism about the Yage for everybody. Everybody have to, and you will obligate people to take Yage. No, it's not such way to do things. On time, they will come if they need. When I saw somebody who came to the ceremony, it's a perfect timing for him. If he don't shows up, it's not the perfect timing for him. So it's perfect. It's okay.
Okay. On that side of things with the ceremonies, money is a big thing with spirituality, because especially people who've grown up religiously, and there's evidence of abuse of it from not just religions but spiritual people or people who claim to be, or this sort of thing. So for people who want to do Yage, at least with you charge for your ceremony.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you say to people who say, well, it's a spiritual thing, spirituality shouldn't have a price, or
they write. This approach is correct. In fact, in the jungle, years ago, I will say 40 years ago, no Taita ever charged for a ceremony. And they do the ceremony on his tribe each month or each week or every time by year he want, and the people don't have to pay for it. But all the year long, this Taita was supported by the community. So if someone would like to support me, I will stop to charge. If you pay my travel bills on airfare, and if you pay the activity I have to do on Colombia to prepare my Yage, and you pay here the food I have, I don't need to charge the ceremony. But of course, nobody pleased to pay all my expenses. So if I don't charge, I won't be able to be back. For me, the most blessing thing I will be glad to do, it's, let's say I do conference and the people pay me for the conference and I give Yage for free. And I will have money enough by conference. Will be nice. But I need some incomes to be able to travel. If not, I won't be able to come back.
So anyone who's organizing conferences, who's watching this on YouTube or listening to this on a podcast, get him involved, and then free Yage for all, and we can change the world. Okay, I got some other questions. How do you see the future of plant medicine and psychedelics? Do you see Yage, for example, in the same realm as mushrooms?
Well, it's a certain kind of. I only take mushrooms once in Ireland with a appropriate ceremony, and was extremely soft for me. But I feel mushrooms certainly may provide you so beautiful guidance too, if it's done on the proper way on ceremony, not just for fun. I know some people come from the Yage ceremony just for fun, just to get high. They are welcome. They will see, maybe they will receive a different message. But it doesn't matter if they want to come just for to be high. Okay, let's come. Maybe you will have a rough time to figure that wasn't exactly what you expect, and they will change your life. But it's okay for me. I remember once in Belgium, some guy shows up and he was completely drunk by alcohol.
Wow.
But completely drunk. He even have difficulties to walk. So the people say, Eric, he cannot drink Yage. He say, I never say so. You want to drink? Yes. Okay, you're welcome. Maybe we'll never drink again. Alcohol.
How did that go?
Well, it was extremely tough for this guy. Because something I suggest to the people who approach a ceremony, it's come humble and with full respect. And you will see the plant is a blessing. If you approach that by, I know everything, I just a little cup of this brew, and that's it, and that's all I get. No, funny, you will see, I am a tough guy. This kind of approach, most of the time when I saw this kind of approach, after 15 minutes, this guy don't remember even his name. It's really strange. I don't know why the medicine is so strong when the people have this kind of approach. The medicine change to them.
So ego is a big
Yes, when the people are really selfish, the experience is different. When the people are humble and respectful, it's always a blessing, but an amazing blessing. And that's what I suggest to the people. And I try to produce an environment, appropriate environment to help the people to be humble on such moments, respectful. Don't do noise. Don't disturb your friend. Each one will find a really nice experience.
About the environment, we talked a little bit about it before, but I know a fire is very important for you at all.
Yes.
So you were saying before, you were talking a little bit about the setup you have. You have some instruments.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what people might expect to see in a ceremony or feel like the?
Well, usually the Tai will have some feathers and also some leaves, dry leaves, and he may sound with the leaves. And with the feathers also, it's a really long feathers from the guacamayo aras parrots, and you have it's like a spear. It's really long, and you use them too. There are some objects for power, and you may clean with this on the spiritual place. Then you use that and you clean the situation, and you see what is not doesn't belongs here, or is better if that energy leave the place. You take that energy away and you keep the place clean. Well, it sounds strange, but well, that's what we do.
Okay, and does that differ between tribes? Like, for example, the feathers of a certain bird or another?
Well, for example, the leaves, I guess all tribes have these kind of leaves. About feathers, some Taita have feathers, some other Taita don't have it. Depending also when they travel, it's not easy to travel with all this object together. The huge Taita also have a crown of feathers, but it's complicated to travel with that because it's delicate. So I didn't receive my crown yet. My master tell me, Eric, it's timing to see you crown. But to have a crown, it's another level of knowledge. And I say, well, we'll see, because it's a big responsibility. So we'll see what happened with the crown, if the crown shows up or not. It's not something I decide neither. It will be Mother Earth, the plant, and the master who will decide when I will be allowed to have my own crown. Maybe never, depending how I behave myself and how I learn with the plant.
I hope that day. I hope I get to see you in ceremony with a crown on. You're a pretty epic looking dude already, and with a crown of feathers, that'll be even better.
During the night also we play music. Usually what I do, I take the Yage myself too. That's something really important. Maybe I forget to say, the guy who do the ceremony always will drink Yage. If he don't, that means it's some innovation. It's not ancestral tradition, Indian tradition ceremony. In the Indian tradition, everybody take Yage. They don't accept anyone to be there without Yage.
Anyone to be in the room even?
Yes. Everybody have to drink the Yage, especially who do the ceremony.
So what do you think the logic is behind that?
Because you need to be on the same level of spiritual world to understand what is happening. It's like if we are on the place to dance and everybody have some a
silent disco headphone.
Headphone, and you don't have headphone and you want to dance. No, without headphone you cannot be connected to dance with your partner or with anybody else. It's the same with the Yage. You need to be connected. If not, you cannot. You cannot do your duty without Yage.
So how much Yage would you have a year?
100 times.
So 1/3 of the year you're having Yage. That's
yes, Friday and Saturday mostly. Sometime more, sometime less. In Colombia, usually I do one ceremony every 15 days. But when I travel, I do 2-3 per week. So, yes, must be close to 100 ceremony per year.
And you look like a fully functioning member of society.
Well, I don't know. You have to say it, because if I am crazy, I cannot figure that on myself.
Nice. So what else? You have instruments there. Is there a significance in specific instruments?
Well, on the past, the only instruments the Indian used to have was flute, different kind of flute, and drum.
Yeah.
But they improved some new instrument like harmonica. and the harmonica is powerful on ceremony. It's really, really powerful. And you also sing. You may whisper, and that helps a lot during the night. But that's come also with the time. With the time, each authority will receive his own song, and with his own music. He will play the music I play with the harmonica. Nobody play it, and it's really funny because on the tribes, usually when you listen to a song, you say, I know which tribes come from this song, because it's always mostly the same. The music I play is not close to any tribe's South American sound, but people please, and even the Taita of the South America, they please the song I play, but they recognize it's not the song they know. It's something different. It's not Kofan, it's a tribe. It's not Siona, it's another tribe. It's not Inga, it's another tribe. It's different. And I remember one of the masters said, yes, it's because the ancestors of Eric are different than ours, that he do everything different, but he do it cool.
Are you sort of the Eminem of hip hop for shamanism? Like you're the white guy in there who's is it rare to have other non local?
Yes, it's rare, and that also provides some. Several Indians don't please to have white people doing to use their own knowledge and to do their own ceremony, and I face a really strong situation when I start to be granted to do Yage, because who granted me was a grandma, and usually the grandma are not allowed to do Yage ceremony. It's only men. It's like with Catholic Church who give you the hostia.
The bread.
Yeah, the bread, it's a man. And this lady never served the Yage, but she was the authority on the Yage. Always a man was pouring the Yage. And after a really short time, she granted me, after 9th month of training, was extremely fast. Something really special happened that night. And because that, several master of different tribe was upset, because it was a woman who granted me. I was an Indian and was only 9 months. She must be crazy.
Yeah.
And I had several issues because that certain times some Taita was against me to try to avoid me doing ceremony, and I have to solve such situation with other masters.
And what's the significance of the fire in the ceremony?
Well, the fire is the oldest grandfather.
Okay.
And it's powerful. The fire. In fact, when you are on the ceremony and you go too close to the fire and you start to speak with the grandfather, it's amazing. But again, it's something you discover when you do a ceremony. Speaking about it, it's complicated. Crazy. Yes, sounds
so
crazy.
Because people listening to this who have never had this before are just like, this guy's insane, maybe mushrooms, just taking psychedelics and talking to plants and talking to fire. Like, what do you say to people like that? Like,
well, I respect that approach, and it's okay if they don't want to do it. They receive my full respect. I will argue with them, and I won't try to pursue them. It's a good things. It's not my goal.
That's what I personally. The fact that I agree with what you're doing or not is irrelevant. I like that this isn't something that is forced upon people. It's not, the Christian crusades that go and force this onto everyone. It's really something that people can find out for themselves. And if they're interested in, do it. And you're not really, people might find some example that it could be doing harm on someone else, but you're really not doing any harm to anyone.
No, and I don't make publicity. I don't advertise. I don't do that. No, I only go when the people call me. If nobody call me to some country, okay, I don't go. It's cool. It's okay. If they call me and they set up a ceremony, welcome. That's my duty. So I go. Also, when the people ask me, Eric, is it right to do a ceremony such way or that way? This guy is doing the ceremony. Do you know him? Or the only thing I will tell him is if I did ceremony with him or not. But I am not a judge to know who is granted to do ceremony and who is not. It's not my task. I don't go to Europe to say you are allowed to do ceremony and you are not allowed to do ceremony as an authority of ceremony. No, I don't approach such way the ceremony. It's not my task.
Speaking of that, is there the way the Catholic Church has an entity that checks on people working underneath them, let's say? Is there something like that for shamanism where, for example, there's someone who claims to be a shaman working in Spain and the Taita in Colombia banishes him or her?
Well, they try. That was one of my approach because, as a European, we want to have the things clear. So I say, why you don't give a diploma to the people who are granted and the people who are not? So if I see the diploma, that means you're granted to do ceremony. If you don't have the diploma, it means you cannot do. But the problem they face when they try to do that, because they try, in fact, they have some association of Taita in Colombia about the huge Taita, and they build an association together. But the problem...
Do you know the name of that?
Yes, Umiyak.
Umiyak.
Yes.
How do you spell that?
U-M-Y-E-C.
The fuck is an Ypsilon?
Epsilon.
That's it.
Ye.
V.
No, ye.
Y.
Y.
Like this.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. If anyone's doing research and they want to see what that's about.
Yes.
Okay.
But what the problem they face, you have several Taita who never get out from the jungle. And they are maybe the most powerful, and they don't have diploma. They won't try to get any diploma. They don't care about it.
Yeah, I'm sure that would seem strange to...
So that means they are not allowed to do ceremony. They will kick you ass if you try to stop them. And they really kick you ass by spiritual way because they're powerful.
Yeah.
So they face a situation, it's extremely complicated to say who yes and who no. In fact, also you have another situation, it's Mother Earth who will decide who is granted and not. And time to time you have people who take Yage for 3-4 times and they feel, because they receive some message about the ego message, I am the chosen one, I will change the world and I will bring Yage to Europe. And it's easy to get such kind of message. I guess everybody receives such kind of message in the ceremony at once.
Dude,
so,
I thought I was Jesus for a minute.
Yes, of course, yes. That's happened. So if you don't stay calm and you go by your ego path, you will believe you are the chosen one to change humanity, and well, that's I may say it's some test also Mother Earth put on you to see how straight are you? Are you? How strong are you? Or you get
guided or
misguided so easily. No, you have to settle down strongly, and also you need a master. The master will put you on your place immediately. If you don't have a master, as unfortunately several people take Yage without master, this guy will believe a lot of things the master cannot put his back on his path, and the guy will be with a misuse of his life.
So do you ever have similar situations through meditation or without Yage?
Well, I did some few meditation, really strong also, but really few. And I guess meditation is something powerful. I am sure meditation it's also a way to reach knowledge or feelings. We have a nice story about what's happened several years ago in Colombia. 2 monks from the Tibet went to the forest and they meet a huge Taita there. And I decided to do ceremony with him for 15 days. And these monks they have pretty good knowledge yet, and they take Yage and they remain on perfect position, about lotus position. They didn't puke, they didn't go to vomit or to go to the bathroom, just perfect. And after the 15 days, the monks come close to the Taita and they tell him the improvement we receive with this plant, it's compared to 15 years of meditation.
Wow.
Right now we reach a level only our master who are 15 years more meditation time than us reach. it's amazing way to reach really fast some other knowledge. I remember also when I was in Malta, the guy who organized the ceremony was a teacher of meditation. And after the first night, he told me, Eric, usually when I do meditation, I have some small timing about vision with meditation. But with the Yage, it was a 5 hours non-stop vision. It's amazing. You say, well, yes, it's a plant. So, and the reason also, the approach I pleased to say to the people about the plant, it's some vision I had a long time ago. I was on the Yage and the plant showed me all the network they built on Earth. And this network was amazing, huge network, but amazing. Like a matrix, but amazing network. And I saw all the knowledge about the plant. And I feel so shame. I say, we think we know something, we don't know anything. What a wisdom the plant have. And the plant tell me, of course we are wise, we are older than you are. You are fresh arrive on Earth. We are here for really much time than you are. And we would like to show you the knowledge about the minerals, but your head is not large enough to understand that.
So, and that's the other thing. Correct me if I'm wrong again, but compared to other more common religions, is a shaman somebody who gives advice to people?
Well, some of them maybe do, but on my case, I don't please to guide the people. Well, I guide them during the ceremony, but outside the ceremony, I won't give you advice what if you should marry this girl or quiet with her or buy this house or like the guru maybe used to do with people. Because if we start to do that, after a while, this guy won't get out from his house because before he called me to know if it's a good idea to get out to do a market to buy some veg. So I decide I don't want to live your life. You will have to face and to solve the situation you face, and don't put me. Even if I know the answer, I won't give it to you. It's up to you to find it, and nobody can live your life. I won't be pleased to live your life. It's your life. Use it and find the answer. Don't come to me to find the answer. You will find the answer inside yourself. You don't need me, in fact. That's the way I approach. But if some Taita gives some advice, well, I respect that. It's up to him. On my case, I don't give much. Maybe I will give some advice just before the do ceremony, what it's wise to do or not wise to do. But it's not.
Let's talk about that because
Yes.
as well. Thanks for coming in when you're feeling crook too.
No, it's okay, no problem.
I know it's not the best day for you to do this, but there is normally some recommendations of a diet and this sort of thing.
Well, it's just recommendation. It's not mandatory. We have some few mandatory situation, but the recommendation I provide to the people, if you have to vomit, it's better to vomit something soft. So don't eat a big piece of meat just before because you will have to vomit meat and it's complicated.
Okay, so that's practical, logical.
It's more practical than anything else. If you want to keep your energy strong, don't have sexual activity before because you will use a lot of energy on the sexual activity. But it's about practical things. The only two mandatory situation we have is about pregnancy for women and about the period or the moon of the woman.
Okay.
And it's not any discrimination about women at all. It's because the energy of the woman change amazing when they get pregnant, especially after the second month, they start to raise her energy amazing way. And that energy cannot be handled in a ceremony. So the ceremony will be a mess. Nobody will find any logic about what he get because it's so high. The energy will be so strong to be handled. And the same things happen when the women are on period. Well, some of them, not all of them, but several women have a different mood when they get period.
Yeah, I think most people can relate to that too.
Yes. So what we ask and what we please, because the women are so powerful, when they have such situation, we please them not participate to ceremony.
Okay. Cool. You wanna? We've got. Okay, we'll put your mic on here. We've got Cecile here as well.
Also,
who can give a woman's perspective.
two things I want to share. Especially for the menstruation, the women have also some kind of other personal ritual, because, like the Indians say, we are more connected with Mother Earth, and for that they have some other techniques without plant to balance and use well this energy, because it's like circle of natural circle, like winter. Yes, it's a cleansing, and it can be used like with the hormonal effect, like collect the seed and take the winter, all the energy weighs down, but to do another circle of life. And the women have some technique, some shaman talk about it, to have a better balance energy, to be more healthy, and each time can clean themselves. And yes, one is this about the menstruation, and also during the pregnancy, the men. We didn't know.
Yes,
that.
in fact, also it's not only by the woman. The husband who is the wife is waiting a child. After 5th month, he cannot participate to any ceremony neither, because he's full of the same energy.
Oh wow! So someone whose wife is pregnant
Cannot participate neither.
So that's more than 5 months pregnant?
Yes, more than 5 months, and in the first 2 months after he was born, the lady and the gentleman cannot participate to any ceremony.
Wow.
It's because energy is not because it's a female or a male. It's about the energy.
Yeah, energy definitely is a big topic with this sort of thing. It's crazy energy is definitely definitely something a lot of people talk about whenever we talk about these sorts of ceremonies.
Yes. And one other second point I want to share is to talk about medicine, European medicine and ritual, or Indian medicine. It's because they want to balance full energy, or full all the approach. It's more a global approach, and it's the most different, because in Europe many times they use plant and they separate some part of the plant, but they stop the balance effect of the plant, and for that some pills can increase good but also increase the unbalance. And the point of view and the process of the ritual is, you can talk about the 4 level: physical, emotional. They can heal the physical part, but also emotional part, mental part, or spiritual part, and help to balance. Sometimes you can feel, sometimes we just feel more balance about it, but all can be a better line, and for that they have a more complete approach by how the plant show to balance all, because if one step is not balanced, the other can have balance. We are in the center.
Instead of just think of an example of like a pill to fix your headache, but maybe it's a deeper problem and you need not just physical but spiritual, emotional. That's the difference between other styles of medicine and Western medicine. No, I think people definitely agree with that sort of thing too. Okay, what does a shaman do for fun?
For fun, ceremony.
So you enjoy ceremonies?
Of course I do.
Yeah.
But I am afraid also about the ceremony. Each time I have to drink the Yage, for me it's a really huge effort. Even right now, because I say so, I start to sweat.
Okay.
Because for me, to drink the Yage, it's complicated. But for me, it's so soon I drink it, it's fun time again. the nice situation will shows up soon, and I am always expecting what will be the message I will get tonight, and how the song will get out tonight, and how will be the drum, and how will be the fire, and well, every night is different. So it's a really nice. And also, well, for me to be with my master and to share moment with him, it's a blessing. It's so beautiful.
So you feel your master's presence every ceremony?
Also too, yes, and time to time when I am in Colombia, I am with him. We share time together. We prepare medicine together. He share me knowledge, cosmogony of his tribe, stories, legend, myth. It's a blessing.
Amazing. You loosely mentioned before that you do a liver cleanse too.
Yes. Liver cleanse is something really often needed by the people in Europe. It's because the liver have a really huge responsibility on our body. The liver cleans the blood, and our blood receive all the toxin we have on our body because things we drink, things we eat, things we thought, even things what we breathe, eat, and drink. All these toxin come in our body, and the liver come to be stock of toxin, and we don't know how to detox our liver. Certainly the wise woman in Europe, or the druids time ago in Europe, knew the plant from the Europe plant to detox the liver, but we forget that. The plants remain here, but we forget how to use that. So I bring some plant from South America, and I use that really often to the people who want to detox the liver. And it's not a funny process, it's a tough process, but the effect, it's amazing. Not during the process, after. During the process, the people will say, I will never doing this again, ever. And when they finish, they say, why, I feel like a gladiator. It's amazing how I feel now.
So could you please, for anyone who's never heard of this, could you please describe a typical ceremony of this?
Well, with the detox liver, it's not a ceremony, just brew. We prepare.
Yeah.
We prepare. It's what I bring. It's a really huge seed from a tree. It's called cocora in Colombia. I try to make a search to know what kind of tree is it. I cannot find his name anywhere on the internet. Even in the botanist people approach. I approach several botanist people. Nobody knows these trees, and. We use the seed. The seed comes with a fruit, and the fruit looks like a mango. It tastes, and the fruit is really tasteful. It's nice, like a mango. And what we use is the seed. And what we do, we grind the seed. We put on water, and after a while, well, we have some blessings things to do, some invocation to empower the plant. Then we sieve it, and you drink a small cup of water with this almond. You wait a few minutes and you start to drink water. That's one of the plant I bring. It's called cocora. And you will have to drink water, and you start to vomit the water you drink. And you will have to drink at least 3 liters of water. That means you will have to vomit at least 3 liters of water. Sometimes you will need 4 liters, 5 liters, 6 liters, we never know. And when you finish the process, the water you vomit will come to be extremely bitter because it's a bile. What you have on the liver, and it get out, and the color change because it's not like water. It will come to be brown, yellow, green, depend the state of your liver. And when that's happened, the process is finished. And after a few minutes, you will feel amazing because your liver is working properly again. It's clean, so all the blood will be appropriate filter again, and you feel the energy on your body. It's really strange, but it's powerful. I have also another plant I use, but this one I use only after Yage ceremony. It's a kind of onion, and we do the same. We cut the onion small, we put that on water, we bless it, and we wait a while, and after that we sieve it, and you have to drink the water. You don't have to drink water with this one. You will vomit. After 20 minutes, you will vomit.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because speaking from experience with the cocora, it is amazing how within 60 seconds you instantly start vomiting, and it's not a pleasant experience
at all.
And it's quite dangerous if you don't know what you're doing, because
Yes.
if from what I understand, if you don't vomit, you can actually need
Well, if you don't drink the water to vomit, I will have to take you to the hospital to clean your stomach.
Yeah, because it's a toxin that if
Exactly, and that's what I say. Well, I do this, but only if you take the commitment, you will take water. If you're not sure, don't do it, because it's some serious things. It's powerful things, but it's a serious things. But up now, I never had any problem with that. Only once in Belgrade, some guy just take 2 liters of water and he didn't want to drink more, and he gets sick for a few months.
Okay, let's go. I'd love to hear a negative story or experience you had with Yage, and then a positive one as well. When you were talking before about if people do a ceremony with someone that's not a qualified shaman who can't summon their ancestors, when something negative happens, they won't know what to do. What has happened to you where you've had to do?
Well, I never did the ceremony without authorized shaman, so I cannot speak about non-authorized ceremony. But what I get in touch by people. In fact, he was from Spain. I never know him. He approached me by somebody who did ceremony with me, and this guy went to one of his friends, and they bought Yage by internet, and they start to drink Yage, and the guy went back to his home with 1 liter of Yage, and every night he used to drink a glass of Yage, and this guy become completely out of mind. And he called me to know what I was in Colombia in such time, and he told me, what can I do? I said, well, from here I cannot help you. I will have to be there in Spain, and I will have to do a ceremony with you to put you back on the right path. But that's one of the kind of misuse I knew. Once I was present on another situation.
So hang on, what happened to this guy? Have you seen
I don't know.
this guy?
I don't know because he didn't went to Colombia, and he didn't try to come to any ceremony with me. He was looking for some magical solution. Maybe I send him a pill and that's it, and doesn't work like so. And once I remember I was in Colombia at my place, and it was an old guy who came to do a ceremony, maybe a 65, 70 years old guy. But this guy was so well fit. He used to do yoga, meditation, really strong guy. And this guy only used to sleep 3-4 hours per day, all his life long. A really strong guy. And he knew about the ceremony, and he told me, well, I would like to participate with you. And we did the ceremony with the grandma. It was a long time ago. And he received the first cup. Everything was fine. And he went for the second cup. And after that, he started to shake. He was afraid. And
after having the second cup.
Yes. So we come to him. We have several things we made to do to raise down the energy of the Yage. And nothing was changing.
What are some things that you would normally do to drop the energy? I don't know if you can say that.
Well, yes, you have different essence of plant we prepare, and you put the essence on the guy, you use the feathers, you use the leaves, and we remove all this energy who is around him to raise him down.
I've heard lemon juice.
Yes, also the lemon juice cut and the garlic cut too.
Okay.
So
because they're strong.
Well, the garlic avoids spiritual approaches.
Demon, Dracula.
Well, good and bad. Because it's not about
Vampires.
good and bad. It's all the spiritual level is avoided by garlic. So when you use garlic, in fact, I always travel with garlic.
Okay.
And the grandma shows up and she starts to clean the guy. And each time you touch the guy, he was afraid, extremely afraid. And he was saying, I cannot sleep. I cannot sleep. I will die if I sleep. It was a really tough situation for us. So the ceremony was going on, and the guy didn't change. We had the healing session at the end of the ceremony, and the guy was remaining on the same situation. The Saturday morning.
What's the healing ceremony?
Well, healing or healing well, in fact, I am not allowed to speak about healing in Europe because healing it's only by doctors. So it's non-legal.
course, yes.
If I use the word healing, I may be in trouble. So I will say to provide some relief.
Okay.
Yes, because if not, as an attorney, I know some certain word I am not allowed to use. So
Okay.
we do we put the people most of the time face on the fire, face on the altar, and we did some strange things with the feathers and with the song and with the essence. We put that on the body of the people, and the people feel really nice.
Okay.
With the healing, with the relieving moment. So we did that on Colombia, and the guy was remaining on the same situation. So we went to find some plant. It's a kind of nettle, really strong nettle in Colombia, and we put the nettle on him. That's usually you do that, and the guy come back immediately. And we did so, and nothing. We did with lime, nothing. With garlic, nothing. The guys remain on the same situation. Then the Saturday night, we had another ceremony. Of course, we didn't give him any Yage, but he was there with us. And
So he hasn't slept this whole time?
No.
And is he still shaking?
Yes. And Sunday morning...
And other people around are like, okay, I'm still going to keep doing this. Well,
Yes. And the next day, the Sunday morning, he recovered himself a little bit. Some friends take his car and bring him home. And 5 days later, I went to his place because I was interested to know what he saw. So I went to him and he said, it was really tough, the situation you go through. I would like to know, what did you see? And he said, nothing, Eric. It was only dark. He said, what? Only dark, no vision, nothing, only dark. And the feeling I had is, if I get feeling in sleep, I will die. It was awful. I say, I'm so sorry. I never listened to such kind of experience ever. I cannot say much. Okay, sorry. Then I went back home. And 15 days later, the grandma called me from the jungle. And she said, Eric, I just did a ceremony last night. Tell me, this guy, we had the problem in the issue, isn't a tomb finder?
a what?
A tomb, the people who take the grave and take out the gold from the Indian from the tomb.
Oh, tomb. Sorry, tomb.
Tomb.
He does that?
Yes. Well, in fact, I knew he was this kind of job he get. He said yes. In fact, he want to give me 3 jar, beautiful jar, and I didn't feel pleased to receive that. So
No.
I tell them, I will ask permission. I don't know if I deserve to have it. And the grandma said, don't receive the jar. All this is curse. And what happened? They show me what they did. The spiritual masters take this guy, put in a jar, and cover him to learn him to respect tradition, Indian ancestrality.
What? So this guy had a horrible time.
Yes, because he wasn't respectful with the Indians. And when you go to a tomb, you disturb the spirit, and you do things you are not allowed to do. So that's what he used to do for several years for living. So they claim to him.
Wow. Is that a permanent thing for him, or?
I don't know. Well, I guess he recovered himself slowly after, but we take a really huge lesson there.
Wow. So
about blessing things, I had several people who did ceremony and they stopped to take heroin, they stopped to take cocaine, they stopped to smoke, they stopped to drink, they stopped and they improve their life, but it's extremely often.
yeah.
I have several people who come now to my place for 2-3 weeks just to heal themselves, and they come and they stay home, and we do few ceremony, not every day ceremony at all. We just do 4 or 5 ceremony, and other plant we use like Ayahuasca. It's the plant you put on the nose. It's tobacco, and other things we share. And this guy, when they come back with a smile, all big on the face, and they stop to use all these drugs easily, without that effort the people mostly have to do to stop to take drug, and they do that with an easy way to do it.
And other than just drug addiction, I've heard stories of people reconnecting with family and fixing relationships.
Yes,
Is
also
that a common thing for you as well?
Yes, I remember was on the few first ceremony I did was a young lady who become widow because the husband died on a car accident, and she did a ceremony and she was allowed to speak with the husband. And the husband saw she was okay, the kids was okay. She saw the husband was cool too, and she take a huge relief on her life.
Right. So safe to say you've had more positive than negative experiences.
Oh yeah, negative is extremely rare. Well, in fact, even this guy for me wasn't a negative experience. It's something you have to learn to be respectful.
So do you think people, say for example, there's people who aren't particularly proud of something that they've done in their life, or yeah, for example, they've done a job that I don't know, maybe they've had to walk over people to get to the position they're in society or something like this. Do you think that this is maybe scarier for someone to do Yage if they aren't?
No, I won't say scary, but they will find a way to relieve such situation they are dealing with, and they don't know how. If, for example, you hurt several girlfriends on the past of your life, and you don't know how to balance that, the medicine will show you how to balance it, and you will feel relief. So even if it's hard time, because maybe you will feel extremely sad because things you did, but you will find a way to solve it. So it's a blessing.
Okay. So last question for this: how people who are interested, how would you recommend? Can they contact you, or is there somewhere people can contact you on?
Well, depends where they live. I don't go everywhere. I am allowed to go wherever I want, but well, they may contact me, or they may contact some masters as they feel.
Do you have somewhere people can contact you, or not so much?
Well, yes, I have WhatsApp. I use WhatsApp. I use Skype. I use Facebook.
Is there a Facebook page maybe is the best one that we can give out here for people? Is that a good idea or not?
Yes, but it's the title. We will have to write down the title. I have one group for Colombia ceremony. And when I go to Europe, I don't say I do ceremony. I just show on the page where I am. And the people who know, understand where I am there, that means we will have some ceremony on the weekend at least.
Okay, so if you let me, I'll put a link to maybe both of those below this, so that if people like the sound of things or maybe have more questions, they can
of course, questions are welcome. I learn with each question the people place to me, so questions are always welcome.
Hopefully we can do this again next time you're in town, and I can actually put something out asking for questions from listeners who can then have them answered by you. Okay. I finish every episode with a hip-hop track that someone's normally a person brings in. I haven't asked you to bring anything in, but I'll play something slightly spiritual hip-hop to go with the theme after this. Is that music? Or then maybe I'll grab one off you later. We'll see how we go. But I'll cut that in after this. Oh, you can play something? Hey, let's hear the harmonica. Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much for that. I had to turn my mic off because I was getting flashbacks to my ceremony. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for being here.
Okay, thanks to you, Daniel. Cecile, thank you.